Yeah, and I wonder what CIS rejects are thinking about as well, whether it be another hero that's able to provide some kind of vision. I mean, they've already got insane push coming through with DK, DP, and Shadow Shaman. Wouldn't surprise me to see them go something like a Bloodseeker, a Beastmaster into this, right? You run the DK mid against the Storm Spirit, not a bad matchup. Beastmaster for the Hawk to protect the Shadow Shaman a little bit, and you've got even more pushing potential.
Coming into this series, I was really intrigued on how Na'Vi were going to look to draft around the threat of the Ramses Nature's Prophet and how they would even look to maybe prioritize banning it. And we did see that game 3 it was a Nature's Prophet versus the Bloodseeker. And
So close.
yeah, it was an exceptionally close series, and it's a frustrating hero to play into. We heard no one speak about it, and they said the comms was crazy. So honestly, I wonder if CIS rejects are kind of considering it, because it was a very similar draft that Na'Vi have at the moment, but maybe the TA might be a bit of a deterrent. I mean, you can put it in multiple roles. You can give it to Press Kid, or you can give it to Ramses if need be.
Yeah, and I feel like the TA is something that at the moment doesn't really care all that much about what Na'Vi are looking to throw at you, right? Like, as long as you're not moving during the Rupture, you're going to be able to stand and man fight relatively effectively against the Bloodseeker. Storm Spirit as well, pretty hard for him to take off many stacks of the Refraction. Overload plus a right click is 2. But yeah, beyond that, I feel like TA's kind of happy to just come in second behind the rest of the team who are looking to take towers, and then just, buy a Desolator, do the same sort of thing.
For me, it looks like Na'Vi are going to have some issues, though, team fighting. Like, I'm a bit worried about how their lineup is able to shape up in this regard. They don't have this hero really to pull it all together to be able to take these 5-on-5 fights, because CIS rejects, they're going to hit us timing in full stride here. First Ages is something they're looking at. They have got decent amount of control. You've got EXO to help out in that area. A TA that comes online very early on, which is something that I'm concerned that Na'Vi might not be able to deal with these 5 heroes running down towers when you get that Aegis.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot on the back of the Keeper of Light and the Storm Spirit, that's for sure. These are 2 heroes that are capable of clearing out waves, but you can clear waves, not necessarily all of these heroes all at once.
And you see they did ban the Furion.
Yeah, right, just for more push.
What is that hero for Na'Vi that they're acquiring here? Like, is there anything that can really cover their flaws with the 23rd pick?
Ugh. Hard to say, to be honest. Like, the Sand King would probably have been the one. I'm hesitant to say Tidehunter just because they've got such insane amounts of damage that it's probably not going to be a factor, but just anything that they could stick in front of their towers and prevent this push, and Sand King was probably the best one that they had.
5 seconds remaining.
Surprised the hero made it all the way to the last phase, but you've got the likes of the Pangli that's still all the way through, but they do have... It's a tricky Pango game with like DK stun, Shaman stun, and we get an Underlord. Okay, I've been waiting to see this in one of our games.
Been asking for it all day, so
yeah.
I'm happy to see it, and it is another one of those ones that do essentially what I was just talking about, right? The thing is, though, you don't necessarily need the entire creep wave, right? You've got the Elder Dragon form, you've got the Exorcism, you've got the Mass Serpent wards, and Underlord isn't going to do jack against those, at least 2 of those 3. So as long as you're, a little bit more mobile, as long as you could drop the wards, I feel like you're in still a pretty good spot on CIS rejects. They're down to 1 second, by the way, with their reserve time, and they're going to go a Wraith King. So this is a very physical damage-oriented lineup, that's for sure, so it does buff up the effectiveness of the Underlord a little bit in that regard, with the minus 35% physical damage, but I still feel like they're in a pretty good spot to take this game number 1. It's just an overwhelming amount of early timings that they're going for. Honestly, wouldn't even surprise me to see Ramses go something like a Blink Dagger earlier, like Armlet Blink Dagger, for example, or maybe even Armlet BKB, to potentially force Vatoon to use the Rupture onto him so that he doesn't chase down people. And, if that's the case, then I feel like the other members of the team are pretty free to just take the team fight however they want.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited to see how that's able to shape up. We don't get the Wraith King as much anymore because Underlord is also kind of an Eastern Europe specialty. So to see how Laze is able to play on it, I think the one big thing for me on Na'Vi, they need to avoid 5-on-5 fights, and you can kind of do that. Fiend's Gate is a great way to be able to go from one side of the map to the next, and just playing off the back of pickoffs. You could also maybe consider going a very early Ag Shard on Sweden Strong just to enable this pickoff and get the map in your favor. very similar to how CIS rejects play when they have a Nature's Prophet. Often that's a lineup that just wants to completely avoid fights, have the numbers advantage, and go for there. So maybe NaVi can do that, but eventually CIS rejects are going to come knocking on your objectives. They have multiple ways to be able to force fights, which means NaVi will eventually have to take one.
Yeah, probably the biggest area of concern for me is the Shadow Shaman on CIS rejects. I feel like you are quite vulnerable in that lane against the Bane and the Bloodseeker. Nightmare set up into the Bloodbright. Sure, you can take it off on the DK, but if you're doing that, you're not getting stuns, you're not getting last hits on creeps. So it's a little bit challenging, that's for sure. But if I had to put my money where my mouth was, I would probably say CIS rejects, just because I feel like they've got an overwhelming amount of early game.
Yeah, same. Slightly favoring CIS rejects, but we've seen how close these two teams really can be. As we are getting underway, a lot of tips already out to kick ourselves off. I know we're both kind of giving a slight edge to CIS rejects, but in your opinion, how can NaVi's lineup work? What are the key things that we have to be paying attention to?
I think they just got to make sure that they're making the Storm Spirit as active as possible early on. No one needs to have the game of his life, in my opinion, because you mentioned the Underlord and the Coddle. They can enable pickoffs a little bit with the Fiend's Gate and the Aghanim Shard recall, but I feel like if you let it get to a certain point, CIS rejects will have their items, and then they'll just group up and run at you, so that pickoff potential is just gone.
30 seconds.
It's all about enabling no one on the Storm Spirit. I mean, I guess you don't really worry. I mean, a little bit. The Underlord, you can leave him alone a little in the lane once he's maybe level 4, and make sure that Sweden Strong rotates with, of course, the fast movement speed that the Keeper of the Light has to secure a lot of those bounty runes, as well as secure the power runes for no one to be able to have that early game impact. Although going up against a TA in the mid lane, not the greatest amount of harass that you can have early on.
Yeah, maybe with this lane as well for NaVi, just the Coddle and Underlord, they are two heroes that often shove the lane out very easily. So maybe we could see not only just going for the runes, but also Sweden Strong putting a little bit more emphasis on trying to create stacks for no one, just so he can get to that first real big item and then look to try and make the plays from there.
See how it goes. I'll be having my eyes on this bottom side though. Roger going up against Solo as well as Vatoon, just to see how the trades are going. Of course, Bane great at trading in lane just because of how effective that Brain Sap can be, but Roger, of course, with the Shadow Shaman, gone into a bunch of stats, and I'm sure that's tipping him basically saying, well, I bullied you out of lane Dominator, and I'm just a Shadow Shaman.
Another opportunity we get to see Vatoon on the Bloodseeker as well. Of course, we did see in their Game 3 in the previous series. How do you feel like his lane's going to shape up down bottom against Mira? Is this kind of just a farming trade?
I would say Mira's probably going to get the better end of it, right? Like, he's got, of course, the Dragon Tail. He has pretty similar right-click damage when compared with him. He actually went the Blades of Attack super early on, realizing that I don't need to prioritize the regen quite as much if I'm able to just get it back from denying and last-hitting creeps. But Solo, he's already forced a salve out of the Shadow Shaman. The supports are just playing their own game here in this lane.
We got two 1v1s down bottom, and it's kind of interesting to see who really wins matchup. Another cell is going to be used, so resources are slowly starting to trickle out early on.
Got a bunch of regen ferrying out on the courier again. Solo has to be a little bit careful here. I mean, they're still both level 1, so there's not going to be too much effective trades happening. Even just the shackles with at level 1 feel like a little bit of a waste of mana at this point for Roger. But Nero already doing a great job at getting a lot of these denies off in the bot lane.
As we take a look at our other side lane, FNG. Spirit Siphon's always a bit of an issue for these strength offlaners to really deal with. See, kind of one Siphon takes away about 350 health of Lays, but this is an interesting lane though for them, because it's kind of a lane that Ramses and FNG want to man-fight, but I don't think they really can into the Blast Nuke and the Firestorm as long as NaVi play around this.
Yeah, it's a little challenging for sure.
They're going to go now, actually.
Yeah.
FNG siphon up in a couple of seconds, but Lays, I mean, he's stuck in the trees. There's really nothing the Underlord can do. So it looks like it eventually will be our first blood picked up from CIS Rejects as Lays just scurrying out But the Bracer is not enough to tank him up as F&G hits first.
That's how you know you've got an experienced carry in Ramses. You know, this is someone that has gone through high-pressure situations a lot in the past. He could have just chased for that kill, realizing, oh god, I want the first blood, me, but he recognized that the creep wave was underneath his tower, so only ended up missing one creep by going back and making sure he was able to secure the vast majority of it.
Mid lane, no one. That's a huge play. Vortex drive back under the tower. Give me a clap before you die, no one says. Oh, he's feeling himself, Danog. We've been speaking a lot. If these mid laners, if they get that solo kill, your ego, just how you feel overall throughout the start of the game starts to ramp up real quick.
Yeah, he gets that mojo going, that's for sure. And he just... You don't want to put him on a roll, right? Because yeah, they just go for these little extra things. And honestly, with a hero as busted as the Storm Spirit is right now, you just don't want to give him any other potential to be able to accelerate faster than needed.
Or even just give no one that start, because, I mean, we have seen what no one has done before. This guy is a top echelon position too. Of course, we haven't seen him on the main stage or a big stage in a little bit of time, but he's showing that he's really dominating mid, to be honest. He's got about a 500 net worth advantage. Of course, the beautiful thing about the TA is that you're always going to be able to catch back up in the jungle.
During the previous tour as well, like it's very clear that he's not resting on his laurels. He, in tour number 1 of this season's DPC, he went back to rank 1 on the leaderboards as well. So he's grinding the pubs. He's not there right now. I believe Watson's number 1, but he's still obviously putting a lot of emphasis on pubs and trying to grind out as much as he can.
Top lane, a little bit of brawling going on, just a back and forth spam of abilities. All right, no one looking to get active. Fortunately, he's not going to get the kill. You'd love to give him an injection of gold, but Sweet and Strong, I imagine he might stick around for the Choco, but it's still on cooldown for 10
seconds.
Actually, yeah, bit unfortunate. Bottom lane, though, they're onto the Bane. I don't think the silence from Vatoon's really going to do much. At least it cancels the shackles at the last second, and Solo's actually able to reposition himself, but it is a lot of damage nonetheless onto the Bane, so he might be shoved out of the lane now.
Weird little lane manipulations as well. These creeps, Roger made sure to get aggro of them so they didn't run underneath the tower, allowing Hero to continuously look to get those last hits off. Press Kid, he's already had to rotate back a little bit to the jungle. Obviously, he's going to have the big creep wave pushing into him now, but that leaves the opportunity open for no one to start taking a few stacks of his own.
We've haven't seen any stacks just yet from Roger as well by Dire's Triangle. Maybe he's going to start to put some emphasis on this, but it's not like they have someone like a Keeper of the Light who's arguably one of the better supports to make stacks. So Roger would do his best, though, to try and help out Depressed Kid.
Figuring out the fact that FNG's manning this top rune here. Will Storm Spirit go for a jump? That's actually a regen as well. You gotta get it.
No. Oh, at least they denied the regen, but FNG is going to give up his life for this. They keep taking the kills. No one's like, come on, guys. I need some kills. Let me snowball this.
Yeah, but then Solo just goes, shh, don't worry. Have a mango, have a clarity, everything's okay.
It's a hush money. It's a hush mango. I'll give you the mana so you can stay out in the lanes, and I guess supposedly giving him a little bit more gold back effectively from that.
Being a support is like a babysitting service sometimes. It's just like, don't worry, you're good, buddy. Just laugh it off and we'll be good to go again.
I like this from Solo. Just making the trek to the triangle, drops a ward down. Gonna block up the Ancients more than likely, and this is just before Roger finds the stack. Let's see how on point Roger is going to be with his own sentry.
Be careful with his exact pathing here on Solo. Those tier 2 towers provide a little bit of extra vision. I wonder if he might even look to put his own body there and then show himself as being around the area so they think, oh, okay, it was just a body block.
Same thing's going on for NaVi. They stacking up their own triangle. So only a little bit for them. They don't have the greatest Ancient clearer. I guess maybe Bloodseeker, once he gets towards that Maelstrom, can do it at a decent rate.
Yeah, I would say so. Even the Underlord, right? The Firestorm can be quite effective.
So how are NaVi going to be able to address this early push that will come out? We're already seeing Miro with his first Elder Dragon form and the Catapult Wave starting to beat onto bottom.
Stop it before it happens, basically. That's what no one's trying to do. Luckily for CIS Rejects, Depressed Kid was able to clear out a lot of those stacks previously. So this rotation's not going to be worth too much, but yeah, it doesn't really feel like they're going to be getting much in exchange for all of this push that's inevitably, excuse me, going to happen from the rejects.
Top lane again, F&G trying to secure one of the runes, but F&G will in fact pray for his life as no one gets a mana back thanks to Sweet and Strong. And well, let's see if he's going to be able to get the bottom rune. It is a DD, but Roger's able to step in and take that away, or maybe even give it to Depressed Kid. He does have his own bottle. Bottom lane though, Fiend's Gate's coming out. Lays can he get in range? Well, he doesn't have a point in the pit to be able to cancel that, so nice heads up play, just a TP from Miro.
Right, he can just come right up back. No harm, no foul. They ended up giving the urn over to no one as well as the chakra magic. So yeah, just enabling him as much as possible. They've got this camp locked up, but honestly, it's already a double stack, so he's going to be able to very quickly take this one out. Hasn't got the fairies trinket though, so you know we can praise the fact that that isn't a factor yet. You know it's going to happen though.
Yeah. You know when you get these storms, tinies, some of the really strong heroes, they somehow always find some of the best neutral items for themselves.
They've been able to unblock the ancient camp at least, so Depressed Kid with that double damage was able to take that up, given a nice injection of gold, but yeah, the Observer Ward still there standing next to them, so they see everything that's going on right now.
It's like
It's a question of what can they do with it. I mean, it's a decent amount of damage that they're going to be able to pump in onto this top tower, right?
Yeah, I mean, Laser's no joke, even though it's only 2 points in the Atrophy Aura, but they still will at least be in a position to maybe trade objectives. We have the second catapult timing coming out shortly. So maybe this is going to be when CIS rejects look to play around bottom with the Elder Dragon form to try and get their first tower.
I'd even pop it beforehand. Force a bit of a rotation. Glyph's already been used. This is the thing. You're kind of on a timer. Roger,
no
he's out of
one's onto
position.
Roger. Oh, I mean, okay, so how do you continue to enable no one? Like, he's off to a flying start, 3-0 and 2, he's got a regen. In fact, he might be continuing to take a fight as F&G is overstepped the mark straight into the rupture, so there'll be no escape for the second support on CIS rejects.
You just got to get a vision, right? And I feel like they've done a pretty decent job of that. They've got the one around the ancient camp, but nothing's catching out Ramses right now. Not that he's a huge portion of their push, but I feel like you more likely need to be looking to contest against Miro. He's already been able to take one tower. I'm sure he's just looking to connect through to the next one with his Blink Dagger.
You see, though, both safe lane towers have been traded. But it's Dire that are really hoping that... Like, they're going to hit this gigantic timing, I feel like, around 20 minutes or so. But they still have some pretty greedy cores. TA, Wraith King, both need a little bit of time.
The thing is, though, Wraith King can get active early on if he wants to, right? Kind of surprised that they've been able to put this much damage into the mid tower as well, just with a Storm Spirit and a Keeper. A lot of early, and that certainly opens up the map for no one, right? That's the benefit of having an Underlord. Very hard to kill early on. He's gone stats heavy. You can buying the infused raindrops there. So if they were to make that rotation, it'll just open up more of the map. I mean, the Storm can probably take this tower, and then you look to try and invade, take away the stacks, slow down that timing. If that 20 minutes becomes 25, then suddenly...
Look at this, Depressed Kid. Rupture out into the backline near the tier 2 tower. The instant Fiend's Grip's going to hold the Shaman into place. Mirror's looking to step into the middle, but he's surrounded by 5 heroes on NaVi. And the Dragon Knight has no plays to be able to turn this around as NaVi instantly answer, getting 2 kills, and into the T1 tower they go.
Allowing the Toon to go back up and farm. That's the benefit of the Fiend's Gate, right? This big map movement coming through. It was actually a really sick Hex. It seems like a very minimal thing, but the Shadow Shaman getting that off on the Storm Spirit means TA doesn't die, even though you, of course, had the Dragon Knight, as well as Shadow Shaman himself fall down. TA is really the one that you're banking on because, as you said, she can be a little bit greedy with the item build. And with her going that first item, Desolator, certainly assists with the push. Just wonder what Ramses is going to go. Looks like he might be saving up for that Blink Dagger to be that...
Oh, they're going to go in on no one, actually. He doesn't have too much mana to utilize, so he needs to play with Sweet and Strong. But there's actually no way they can penalize no one, so he gets the kill, instantly gets out. No harm, no foul. In fact, they want to continue to play around here. They zip onto FNG. There you go. He's got the mana thanks to the chakra, and that's how you enable no one. Get these towers, play off the back of the power runes, and give him all the mana he would ever desire.
Yeah, every single chance that he can get, it's just find the Shadow Shaman, kill the Shadow Shaman, because you just don't want to let him get his spells off, right? That's why he's going for this early BKB, really wanting to be enabled to fight into the inevitable push that CIS rejects are going to have.
And unfortunately for Roger, he's having a really tricky game. 0-3-0, hasn't been able to get really any net worth. And a Shaman is a hero that can do a lot with net worth, but if you're in a game like this where a diving core is over farmed and is protected by BKB, then you are just food, and there's really nothing much you can do about it.
Yeah, you're essentially just trying to be a Hexbot, essentially. Are they going to go to Roche?
Oh,
They're
they
smoking
are.
up here with the
This is
Desolator
cool.
and the Serpent Wards.
This is really, really cool. I have a fight down bottom, so they have no idea this is going on. It's just the duo supporter NaVi just blowing up FNG. Oh my.
Still pretty key timing to take, though. 14-minute Roshan. Very easy for Depressed Kid to have that secondary life. And, well, the push hasn't happened yet. And if you're a Na'Vi fan, I'm sure you're very happy with how things have started. It's not the end of the road, though, for CIS Rejects. They've got these key timings about to come out. Wraith King, I believe. What do you go for? What are you looking to buy up? Okay, he's actually changed things up. Looks like the Shadow Blade is the next point of call for him, considering Miro is so close to picking up his own Blink Dagger. And like they might be lacking a little bit of damage, particularly against that tanky Underlord.
Solo's being so annoying. It just replaced the sentry by the Ancients. Previously also dewarded a fresh ward that was used defensively from CIS Rejects, and they are just recognizing how important the triangle is to be able to get that injection of gold and even experience into someone like the TA or the Wraith King.
Absolutely. Really banking on being able to respond to some of these BKB timings as well, or rather be ready prior to the BKBs coming out on lays. He's got the Rod of Atos available. Doesn't have too many points in the Pit of Malice just yet, but can certainly look to see him perhaps itemize a bit more towards that as he does.
Radiant's middle
The
tower
Coddle as
is
well.
under attack.
It's so much lockdown that you can have for a vulnerable target.
So, do you feel like CIS Reject can take a fight with this Aegis, or is this really just taking it out of the hands of Na'Vi and maybe give them more of a window to hit that next timing where they will feel comfortable to maybe take some fights?
I don't think it's necessarily taking it out of their hands. I think it just gives them the luxury to perhaps farm a little bit more aggressively on Depressed Kid. Like, you can see just where he is now, right? He's farming close to where his tier 1 tower used to be. And so it means that if he gets caught out, there's chance for the rest of the team to be able to rotate through. He's, of course, relatively tanky with the refraction and sitting second on the net worth. And it just opens up more of the map for, as you said, those greedy cores like the Wraith King.
Well, Ramses is going exceptionally greedy this game. I do not know if this is... Of course, I think the beautiful thing about every region is that they read heroes differently and what items they need. But it looks like he's going MKB.
It seems the case. Maybe just wanting to be able to respond to the blinding light that's eventually going to come out from the Coddle.
Okay. Well, look at them. They're actually starting to posture finally onto Na'Vi's side of the map.
Yep, they feel like they've hit their timing. Depressed Kid very close to having that Blink Dagger for himself as well, so he's just as capable of bursting down some heroes as no one is.
They won't have the tier 1 now to rally around. See how they can start Depressed Kid. Instantly playing with the illusion, trying to get out of the Atos. Ramses might run back into this wraparound.
Careful, Ramses. I mean, the bottom tower's pushed in as well, and they didn't use the Elder Dragon form, so I think they're trying to see if they use the glyph prior to them coming down here, and, well, they're going to need to with the FNG just sitting in the trees. They fortify to make sure the siege creep survives, and it's all on lays for now. Whoever reveals in the lane is going to get blinked.
Oh no,
Stunned.
FNG. So
That's
much
fine.
damage.
But they use the glyph. That's the important thing, right? You've got this next wave coming. Sure, it's not a siege creep, but you've still got a TA with Desolator, you've still got a Wraith King who's got an incredible amount of damage, and you've still got the Elder Dragon form.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of the net worth at the moment, why it's favoring Na'Vi is because, I mean, the Keeper of the Light is higher net worth than Lays. So it's really just this position 3 difference and the position 4 difference as well. So the cores on CIS Rejects in regards to the 1 and the 2 are feeling really strong right now.
Yeah, and for now, you know, that's going to be the case for Miro. He's going to be a little bit behind at least until he picks up that Aghanim Shard, until they get a few more towers as well. did just spend like basically a minute standing above that tier 2 tower top, so the fact that Laze was able to defend that solo is a pretty big deal.
For
Especially
Miro,
considering... Oops, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, for Miro, who are his eyes on in these fights? Who does he have to get the jump? What's priority number 1 for him?
Honestly, anything but the Underlord in my eyes. They're all very squishy targets. If you don't give the Bloodseeker a chance to start right-clicking and getting the silence off, then you can actually burst him down pretty quickly. They don't have a mass amount of stuns, right, outside of the Storm Spirit and the Bane, so should be quite nice.
Maybe a bit difficult now, at least, to get some of the cores if those BKBs are popped. You've got one on no one, Platoon very close to his, just completing the recipe. So this could be go time for Na'Vi, especially with Aegis ticking out in the next 20 seconds.
Got the Serpent Wards for bot, though, and they're looking to take immediate advantage of that again. They actually do have the glyph. How'd that come back up? I don't know. Well, Tower's taken a fair amount of damage. They're looking to smoke up together. Being careful not to take the boundary run. I really like that choice because, you know, generally, if people are pushing around a certain area, they've probably got it warded. It's not the case, but it's still the right decision.
All right, look at this. Radiant have some really good warding aggressive. They see both Ramses and Depressed Kid. You're not going to dive.
I don't know if you could dive him, yeah.
No, but it's just... Oh, we'll see.
Called in Platoon.
They got the lane ward as well from Dire, so I think they saw Solo actually posturing pretty aggressively right now.
That is still a tier 2 taken, though. FNG able to do it. So you can take away that outpost now. Push the wave in, force more defensive rotations to come through from Na'Vi.
Man, look at this. They've got 5 really aggressive wards on Na'Vi. This is pretty much firm control of the top side of this map. It's going to be difficult for CIS-R just to take a fight here unless they smoke in.
It's how they have to play, though, right? They need to, again, take fights before CIS Rejects can rally up as an entire team. Top tower is actually pushing in a fair amount. I mean, CIS Rejects, they are getting an okay amount in exchange, just keeping mid and bot pushed in, but honestly, I wouldn't feel too happy about giving up my outpost. Does enable Roger to get that Blink Dagger, though. We talk about that instant lockdown for the Storm Spirit. He's got the BKB, but if you can get a Blink Hex off, it doesn't matter.
Wow, I'm quite surprised he actually has gotten this item, because we were speaking about it a little bit before that Roger's net worth, he was the bottom when we were mentioning it. Zip in. No one's going to be off the mark. Nice reactions from Depressed Kid. Still might be in a bit of trouble. Refraction up in 5. If Solo can get in range for the Fiend's Grip, and he'll do just that. The CIS Reject sacrificed the TA. No one wants to come nearby to try and protect her, and they might go back in the gate. Look at this. They're going to see Ramses by himself.
Oh, it wore off, though. It's only Platoon there, so they can't. They might recall. Yep, they're recalling from Sweden Strong. I believe it's the Underlord. Yep. Just trying to get that initial little bit of lockdown. I like the fact that he saved the meld there for when the Atos was running at him on the press kit, but it does mean that they had to use the Fiend's Grip.
Eyes on bottom. They're going to go on no one. Fireballs out, even Serpent Wards as well, and I don't think they're going to have a way to protect no one. A big pick off that will cost the Shaman his life. No way. Okay. Just kills him before the TP, but that is a high valuable kill. I mean, 631 gold given over to Miro.
We were talking about how he wasn't having the greatest game to be able to start, at least in terms of net worth. That's going to give him a big injection of gold, where he'd been able to pick up that Ogre Axe and become even tankier. Nice item, though. The Basher. All of these BKBs that are starting to be acquired by CIS Rejects are basically all coming at around the same time. So if you're going to have a response to that, you know, you take an advantageous team fight, you try and TP away, you're not going to have that luxury.
Fenji should be killed up to the top jungle. Solo's going to be able to get in range to cancel that TP. It's a pretty fast Roche spawn, yeah. And Ramses is alone. Long zip in. Of course, he has the reincarnation to play with, but it's really late reactions from CIS Rejects. They're not getting in the neighborhood, and look at Platoon. Just looking to secure the kill. BKB pop, no messy around in case there's a counter initiation.
Just looking to get full banner again on no one, and they'll be the first ones to scout out the fact that this Roche is up. Kind of surprising to see no TA trap in the pit.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I think this is how NaVi needed to play if they were to stand any kind of chance. It's hard to see too many mistakes that they've made so far this game.
I mean, the KDA is outweighing kind of the net worth. Honestly, 15-2, you'd expect the net worth lead to be probably a bit higher than 4,000, but...
And to have a shard on Vatoon as well.
Oh, I mean, this shard is exceptional. Always a big fan of the Bloodseeker shard, especially into... You got 2 strength cores that you're going into.
Allows you to man fight, especially with that BKB. He's only used the 1 charge so far, so it's still sitting at 8 seconds, but definitely going to be trying to take advantage of this as best they can. Level 18
Lane,
as well.
Ramses again's in trouble. Oh no, the long zip in. What's going on? A tip out from no one, and we're just seeing what happens. He's gone this kind of greedy item. I guess people aren't even playing behind him, unfortunately, though. So NaVi, oh, they're actually going to look to jump, though. Miro onto the bane, straight to the back line. No one goes. Trying to kill off the supports, but no one's out of mana. It doesn't matter, though, as Dire just crumbling under the pressure. DP will be killed off instantly after the nightmare. They do get the Aegis, but NaVi, a 3 for 1. You are more than happy with that.
I mean, they're just not fighting. They're fighting without BKBs. That's the big issue right now for CIS Rejects. They're trying to slow things down a little bit more. TA's been able to pick up hers, and she needed to use it to be able to get out from that engagement. But yeah, Wraith King going down, going again.
Bottom lane in.
Very greedy build.
No one's onto Roger. So you can't get anything out of the map, no one says. Oh, well, maybe just a Hex TP out. Fiend's Gate too late.
It'll allow no one to connect with the rest of the team, I guess.
There you go. I guess the one thing for NaVi is cracking high ground is not easy at all. Bloodseeker's never been known to be a really tower sieger, so...
They don't have amazing defense, though, on
true.
CIS Rejects.
It is
You
very,
need to
very
commit
true.
a lot to be able to repel. Going for another smoke here, feeling like they can get a pick off with level 2 Mass Serpent Wards. If they could catch Batoon, they would be over the moon about that, although the T1 tower top is still there. So has to be very careful where Depressed Kid shows on the map.
You gotta be quick, he's got a BKB. Oh, he's recalling
Oh,
out!
the recall!
Oh,
2 damage!
No.
Oh.
Oh, they didn't see him. Oh, disastrous.
Look at the things.
Oh,
They're
they're
like,
actually
don't
going
let
bottom.
him get BKB. Target anyone with no BKB. Slow that timer down.
Depressed Kid? Yo, you see how difficult it is to play this game right now for CIS Rejects. There's nothing they can do across the map. There's no one. He's into F&G throughout the river, so an easy kill for the Storms through it. Back to the Ancients we go. As Depressed Kid's getting chased down, Vitoon's locked onto his target. Bashes to go through, Rupture forcing no escape, and now Ramses. He just can't stand his ground, and man fight, and they're gonna call it. 25 minutes in, CIS Rejects want nothing of this game. One is no one. And Co, what a performance from them to be able to open up our first series of the night.
Holy crap, they just called it. Surely you try and take a fight with these BKBs, but no one was everywhere. What a performance from the NaVi mid laner.
This is very similar to what we saw in the previous series as well, though. Game 1, NaVi was able to take that in 30 minutes in CIS Rejects. They had a pretty early GG call, and now in this game, they do the same. They just felt like they were too far behind or couldn't see an avenue back in. But NaVi, I mean, this is a lot of momentum now for them.
I know I've called out Ramses about it once, but did you need the MKB? Did you really need it? It didn't feel like it. You know, there were a number of times where he would have been totally safe if he was able to just pop the BKB and run away from that full-on gank. At least give the rest of the team a chance to be able to rejoin in and help contribute towards the team fight. But without that, the snowball kept going. No one kept popping off. What did he end on? 7, 1, and 11. So 18 kills in a 22-kill game is pretty damn solid.
Yeah, we're speaking a lot about no one. They had to unlock him, and they did just that. We saw what the Coddle could do, the chakras consistently refreshing the mana. He was out on the map. They did a very good job as well to take those early towers to enable the power runes. We saw how important they were to get those early kills, and you have to give props where it's due. F&G with the vision game was exceptional once again. We've seen early gems. It was because how farm the Coddle was, they got a gem, they could control the map, it enabled the pickoffs, they took perfect fights afterwards, and man, for NaVi, that was just a beautiful game from them, and now they're in prime position now. Let's see if they can continue with the momentum or if CIS Rejects can hit back in our second game.